Starting the lineup here in the Now, people are losing their jobs because of coronavirus, but there are places still hiring. We're going to tell you where you should be looking. Also, it's clear that employees working in the service industry, they're going to take a hit from this. The push owners are making to be able to keep their employees on the payroll. And one couple faced a big challenge getting home after getting stuck overseas with travel changes. The new hurdle they're facing now that they're back in the States.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Amanda Starantino, and this is the Now Indy. We begin right now with today's big developments due to the coronavirus in Indiana. First of all, there are no new deaths to report. The number remains at 2. There are 9 new positive cases for a total of 39. And the 500 Festival announced that the mini marathon in May will not be run through the city. It will become a virtual race. And Simon is closing all of its malls at 7 p.m. tonight. That includes 10 in Indiana. Circle Center, Castleton Square, and Greenwood Park are just some of those malls. And as we are starting to adjust to the new reality with COVID-19 restrictions, some Americans who live in Italy and are already more than a week into self-quarantine. RTV6's Alyssa Donovan spoke to an Indiana woman who lives in Naples, Italy, with her family.
Sarah and her husband are stationed in Italy for the military. The couple and their 5 kids have been on lockdown in their home for 10 days. Sarah and her family have lived in Italy for 2 years. Traveling and making friends, it's felt like home. But this last week has been a challenge.
Nothing is open publicly except for pharmacies, grocery stores. They're calling it quarantine.
And if they need groceries, Sarah says she has to carry a certificate stating why she's left her home in case she's stopped by the police.
We really can't leave our homes at all.
Which is not a huge change for their family. The kids, who are between 3 and 11 years old, typically are homeschooled. So they're still doing schoolwork in the mornings. In the afternoons and evenings, though, the family has to get creative.
Last night, my husband camped out with him in our yard.
Sarah and her husband were paying attention to the spreading coronavirus, but she says they didn't expect it to get to this point.
Honestly, I don't think many of us here took it seriously until the decree was announced about the lockdown. In general, I think people will exercise their freedom as much as they are allowed.
And Sarah says the issue they're hearing about most right now in Italy is that hospitals are overburdened. And she says she's noticed in the U.S. there's a big emphasis on flattening the curve in the hopes that that doesn't happen here. She also says if she could give her friends at home any advice, it would be to take the situation seriously. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Thank you, Alyssa. The heavy downpours have ended here, at least in the short term, in the metro area. I'll show you where some rain's coming down. You see the light fog as you try to look from Speedway to downtown Indy. All of this rain moving to the north and east. Marion, you'll have a heavier shower that's rolling through Peru, Kokomo, and then north of Lafayette toward Monticello. All of the activity moving northeast. Also moving northeast, warmer temperatures. The veil of warmth will be lifted into central Indiana. We'll actually feel some humidity tomorrow. That will be one of the building blocks for thunderstorms and severe storms possible tomorrow afternoon and more likely tomorrow night. Temperatures in the low 50s. They're steady temperatures through the evening hours. The wind will remain light out of the west. Temperatures tomorrow starting in the upper 40s, dry as you head off to work, at least if you're leaving before 10 a.m. Then our first round of thunderstorms for the day shows up. Temperatures warming into the low 60s and then eventually the upper 60s for the afternoon high. There's your 7 a.m. map. Lots of clouds, rain to the southwest. I'll take you through the timeline for the rest of the day coming up.
The U.S. and Canada are taking steps to stop the spread of COVID-19. The two nations agreeing to close the border to non-essential traffic. Both sides stress trade will not be affected. New research says coronavirus can live on surfaces for 3 days. The study in the New England Journal of Medicine did say the risk of you getting infected from touching materials like, say, plastic or steel is low. A new study is looking at the effect that coronavirus has on children. The research released in the journal Pediatrics says symptoms are less severe in children, but there is a concern that it appears that kids can spread the virus easier than others, and that poses problems for vulnerable groups. Hundreds of colleges and universities across the country classes or temporarily close campus because of the coronavirus. Now that has students asking questions like if they'll be getting money back or if their online course that's now pass fail will have the same integrity on their transcript.
They are saying that Not only does it not have the same value, but they're concerned about being forced off campus. So students who no longer have access to their work-study jobs on campus, what does it mean for them? Those who've been forced to go home, particularly international students who might not be able to afford to come back, will they be getting financial assistance in this regard?
The president of the Association of American Colleges and Universities says that many schools are asking their alumni to give money to create funds for emergency travel, housing, and food insecurity. She says some schools are prorating room and board for the semester for students who are forced off campus. Now, others haven't made that offer yet, but that is a question that's worth asking if your school hasn't talked about it. Colleges and universities had to act quickly to move classes online, which is also raising questions among students about the quality of their classes.
Now, moving forward, we need to think about how we can preemptively address these issues in the future, because this will not be the last crisis that we face.
The AAC&U is sharing tools with faculty to help modify their courses to work better online. The group says schools will need to think about developing curriculum in the future that can be delivered either online or face-to-face. Let's get back to the lineup here on the Now. And as layoffs continue across the country due to coronavirus, we have advice on getting one of the new job options available now.
Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
A nonprofit food pantry in Johnson County is ready to meet the needs of families who are not sure when they'll get their next paychecks due to closures caused by the coronavirus. This week, Interchurch Food Pantry staff and volunteers worked to overhaul their normal system in order to help contain the spread of COVID-19. Normally, people in need could come into their facility and shop for groceries. To avoid crowds, volunteers are pre-packaging boxes full of fresh and frozen groceries. Anyone in need in the community can come to their drive-thru during business hours. You do not need to explain your situation. They are ready to serve any families in need. Pantry manager Carol Phipps tells RTV6 this week is already more busy, with many people showing up for the first time in need of a hand up.
We really have had such an outpouring from the people driving through who are immensely appreciative. One woman said she was just laid off from the restaurant that she worked at, and she didn't know how she was going to get by, and so she was in line.
Phipps tells us they need more healthy volunteers to package meals to keep this effort going. They welcome any students who are off school to come help. The Interchurch Food Pantry is also looking for monetary donations and some specific items. You can find more info on how to donate or volunteer on our website at theindychannel.com/coronavirus.
Nearly 80 million American jobs are at risk because of COVID-19. These are new numbers that are in from Moody's Analytics. To put that in perspective for you, that's more than half the jobs in the U.S. economy overall. On the flip side, some gig jobs are surging. CareerBuilder says that they are seeing high demand for delivery drivers, food prep, and warehouse workers.
There aren't necessarily new jobs, but the responsibilities of those jobs may have shifted, and there's much more willingness to allow employees to perform these jobs from their home.
Although Amazon has told employees to work from home if possible, they're also planning to hire 100,000 workers to keep up with online orders. Food delivery companies like Grubhub and Postmates are seeing growing demand. The job posting site Glassdoor reports that there's been an increase in requests for help with coronavirus-related research and communications. Some companies are looking for immediate contract hires or temporary positions that can help write content about the outbreak. Now, if you're at home and not working, CareerBuilder says this really could be a good time to work on that resume and also check social media sites for new opportunities. Let's turn to the Now News feed. Facebook having trouble with news stories about coronavirus. The social network says a bug in its anti-spam system actually blocked legit news stories. Facebook says it's working to fix that problem. Well, if you were planning on going to shop at IKEA, you're going to need to put those plans on hold because the store announcing it will be shutting down locations temporarily. It will continue to offer online shopping, home deliveries available in certain places. Now, if you're practicing social distancing, you can still host movie night because Google's Chrome is offering an extension called Netflix Party. It allows you to watch and chat with your friends as you all watch the same show. Well, ahead in our lineup, one couple faced a big challenge getting home after getting stuck overseas with travel changes because of coronavirus.
Everything just kept changing hourly, and we were so scared that we were going to get stuck there, and we can't get stuck there. Like, we had to get back.
The new hurdle they're facing to make ends meet now that they're back in the States.
Fueled apps. RTV6 is working for you.
States across the country have closed bars and the dine-in parts of restaurants in an effort to slow the spread of coronavirus. The CDC says coronavirus doesn't move from properly prepared food to people. Annie Taylor spoke with a restaurant owner trying to keep business up and employees on the payroll.
It's quiet inside local pizza joint Sexy Pizza. Usually bustling, this restaurant is not alone though, after governors around the country put restrictions on restaurants.
We won't be selling any fountain soda. We can't sell any beer or wine either. And we are taking extra steps to limit the amount of guests inside our restaurants to one at a time.
Owner Kyle Peters says fortunately, they are able to continue takeout and delivery as usual.
We are offering a no-contact delivery, where a delivery driver will contact the guest by phone or text when they're outside and then leave the pizza outside their door.
With the big change, Peters is more worried about his employees.
Hoping that we can stay open so our employees have jobs and shifts they can come to and work and make money to support themselves and their families.
Besides trying to keep part of the business running as usual, they've had to up their game in other areas.
We've increased our already diligent sanitation practices. Even without dine-in services available, we're taking extra precautions by wiping down all major touch points after every customer interaction.
Is it too early to tell if you have felt a hit at all?
I think for us, it maybe is a little too early to tell because, again, we're so fortunate that we can continue to do a good portion of our business through delivery and takeout. Despite
business slowing down, Peter says we can't lose sight of supporting one another through this unprecedented time.
We can't detach from the communities that we live and work in. Many people are going to suffer in a big way over the next couple of months, whether that be financially, physically, and mentally. And we need to keep that connection with others going.
I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
Annie, thank you. And the National Restaurant Association is forecasting the industry will lose $225 billion over the next 3 months. It's predicting between 5 to 7 million restaurant jobs will be lost if the industry is shut down for 3 months. Today, it's asking the federal government for a $145 billion recovery fund from the Treasury Department.
Well, a little bit can go a long way right now when it comes to keeping our neighbors employed. The Gallery Pastry Shop in Indianapolis got a good taste of Hoosier hospitality on Tuesday when a customer came in to pick up a carryout order. They left a tip of $1,000. The general manager of Gallery Pastry Shop says they had to lay off several employees this week, so a generous tip like this is allowing them to keep on staff 2 employees for at least 1 more week. Although not everyone cannot give so large, anything helps while the industry is in such a fragile state.
It's so helpful to have so many people coming in to order, placing deliveries, tipping our staff, and just really showing us support here. It means the world to us. It means serving food for another few days.
And the GM says to support everyone you can with carry-out orders because they are all hurting right now. The Gallery Pastry Shop is located in South Broad Ripple and is open for takeout orders like many restaurants across our area, trying to continue business operations through this time. Kevin.
A little bit of fog and some water, some rain on the lens there as we're down in Monroe County on campus at Bloomington. Showers, thunderstorms return tomorrow, but nothing more than a few showers or light rain showers this evening. Here's a look at the radar as you go into northern portions of Clay County. That may clip Spencer and then zip to the northeast. Additional showers. Let's just go to the north. Monticello to Logansport to Peru. You see the steady rain there and pockets of heavier rain that will continue between Delphi and then move between Kokomo and Peru. Then we'll see a break, I think, for most of central Indiana this evening. Rain and 43 degrees in Kokomo. It's 52 in Bloomington with the fog. Wind generally light out of the south. That will continue tomorrow. Morning is dry, thunderstorms late morning into the afternoon. That's round 1, and then we'll wait for more storms later tomorrow night into the overnight hours. Temperatures will shoot into the upper 60s. Pick up the timeline at 7 a.m. Follow this as we go to noon, showers, thunderstorms on a line from Terre Haute to southwest of Bloomington into the metro area at 2. We could have some isolated strong storms there. I think it will be after that moves out and we warm up, maybe get some late day sunshine, that we'll see the stronger storms redevelop. As far as temperatures on Friday, we go the other way. Temperatures in the morning in the 60s, giving you false confidence, but look down to 50 already by Friday evening. That leads to a much colder weekend. That 4-day forecast coming up.
The halt in many flights between Europe and the United States came as a shock to some travelers overseas. Amanda Brandeis introduces us to a couple trying to get home who is faced with thousands of dollars in costs and a huge hit to their small business.
It was their dream destination.
It was our first international trip together, and we were going to spend St. Patrick's Day in Dublin, and it's always been a dream of mine to go to Dublin.
But for Bree Steffen and Sean Harris, the dream began to unravel, waiting for their connecting flight.
We were in Zurich when we found out about the travel restrictions, and when the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. So we were like, oh my God. Like, what do we do?
They tried to book tickets home, but they would have cost upwards of $6,000. So the two stuck to their original plan.
We still had a really good time. It was just a lot different than we had pictured.
They felt especially safe in the countryside, outnumbered by four-legged friends. But the mood changed in Dublin. Museums, restaurants, pubs, all closed.
It's just like nobody here.
And the longer they stayed, the more unsettling it felt to be outside the U.S.
Everything just kept changing hourly, and we were so scared that we were going to get stuck there, and we can't get stuck there. Like, we had to get back.
For days, the couple couldn't find a flight. They were either booked or canceled. But this week, they found one through United. Passengers were taken off the plane in groups of 10 for medical screening.
And then they gave us this card, which just has more information on, like, COVID-19 and how to self-quarantine at home.
But now they're faced with another hurdle.
Terrifying. I got a realization last night that it's going to be very difficult to sustain a small business.
On the trip, Sean made the decision to close his cidery to stop the spread of coronavirus. He was planning to open a tasting room next month, a decision which will likely be put on hold.
We're potentially going to go out of business, and we've been doing really well. And going out of business on something that is not your fault, you know, it's bad.
But they're trying to stay hopeful, looking for the bright spots.
We'll go back, and it'll be great.
In San Diego, I'm Amanda Brandeis.
Amanda, thank you. Coronavirus appears to be impacting the number of people behind bars. The AP reporting jails across the country are trimming their populations. For example, in LA, they cut the number of inmates by 600 since the end of February. Some of that has been releasing people with less than a month left on their sentence early. Now, we've been hearing a lot about the two things that you really should be doing to help stop the spread of COVID-19, and that's wash your hands and practice social distancing. For people in prisons and jails, those things really may not be an option. And an advocate is saying it's not a matter of if, but when they'll be locked in with the virus.
I have great concerns for the welfare of people who are incarcerated when coronavirus gets into these places. And if it's in the community, it will be in the detention settings.
Dr. Homer Venters is president of a nonprofit aimed at improving health services behind bars. He says America's 5,000 jails and prisons are designed in a way that promotes the spread of communicable disease. Through mass incarceration, sometimes they've been over capacity with people with health issues, and he says that staff coming and going and intakes creates new possibilities every day for coronavirus to spread. Venters was also the chief medical officer of the New York City jail system during the H1N1 outbreak, and based on that experience, he says states that have integrated detention systems with local departments of health will fare better with this crisis.
Unfortunately, for many of the jails and prisons around the country, because they're separated from those community health institutions, they're trying to figure these things out on their own, and they have very sporadic communication with the health departments who are running the response.
Venters says one of the biggest concerns is that potential patients in jails and prisons may not get the treatment they need in a hospital. One final check of our lineup here on the Now. We are all feeling extra work stress right now, but we're going to take a look at the bigger impact this could be having on your health that you likely don't realize.